Hey everybody, welcome along to the BBQ Chat Talk Show. Tonight we have our guest Steven Powell from Ugly Drum Smokers, Texas. He's going to be telling us all about the good stuff he builds, and also about his group and competition cooks and stuff like that he does. So that's going to be a really good show. I'm looking forward to it. How are you getting on, Matt?
Oh, not too bad, mate. Suffering a bit, but that's a story for a different day. I'm good, mate. I'm good. Been a busy old week. Not really been out at the pit. Not really done. Not really even thought about food. To be fair, this week, it's just been manic. What about yourself, mate?
Me, I've been super busy. Obviously, I've got my cocktail video coming up this week. It comes out on the 12th. Hashtag drink tips. So that'd be quite a good little video. I'm going to be doing I can't remember the name of the cocktail, but it's really, really nice and it's super easy to make. Plus, I've filmed the collaboration that we're doing as well over the weekend, so I need to get that edited. Plus, as well, I'm actually maybe going away, depending on if the airport authorities let me out of the country or not. So I want to get everything edited and uploaded and ready to go on YouTube. So it's going to be a busy few days, plus sunshine, more cooking as well. So yeah, that's my plan.
All right, good. Good. So, I mean, got anything to cook this weekend, should I say, rather than week? It's weekend, isn't it now?
Yeah. I'm going to be doing some chicken wings tomorrow on my Weber. Probably some maybe smash burgers again, I think. I might even film that one.
You're converted by the sounds of it.
Well, I haven't got a smash burger video, and I was quite impressed by how tasty they were, and I think it'd be a decent video to make. So that's what I'm going to do. Plus, I've got an idea that I've been looking at for a couple of weeks about making some like prawn taco things with like a nice seasoning, but I'm not sure whether I should hold that back or wait till I get back off holiday, I think, because I'm almost bound to pick up some sort of nice little herbs and spices from Turkey. So I might be able to find something just to lift up the prawns or the tacos a little bit over there. So I might hold off on that. Maybe do that as a practice cook, and then do it. Maybe film one when I get back.
Yeah, sounds good, mate. Sounds good. Should we say hello to a few people in the chat? We've got Lep, Pickles, Dutchy.
Hi guys.
Mike. Hi, Mike, how you doing? Who else we got? Cooking with Big Cat 305. And I think that's it so far. I think there's a few other people watching. For questions that you want to ask Steve tonight, if you use the hashtag questions or question even, and either myself, Ryan will pick it up, or one of our lovely moderators will also pick it up and highlight it for us. Excellent. So shall we get Stephen in and speak
I think we should maybe before we start, let's also we need to mention the Rusty Barbecue Company. They're running a special promotion with the show at the moment for 10% off. I'm sure you'll be able to give us a discount code, Matt.
Yeah. So if you head over to his website, Barbecue Talks 10 will get you 10% off his rubs and his sauces.
Yeah. So go check out his site. Buy up a load of his rubs and sauces, because I tried some at the weekend, and believe you me, I was very, very impressed. So check them out.
We've got a little thing going on with somebody else, haven't we? That's in the pipeline and should be completed by the end of August. Are we saying?
Yeah, maybe.
Ready for some people's perusal. Oh, that's a nice word, that, isn't it? Perusal.
I'm not even sure I know what perusal means. If I'm
right, that's enough.
Let's call Steve in and get stuck into this interview, shall we? He's going to be a very good one. He's a good guy. I've known him a few years, so I'm looking forward to this one. Should be good.
Right then, let's get him in. Right, mate.
Hey guys,
How you doing?
how y'all doing?
Oh.
Even in interview, he's still building.
I got one of our new hinges we're just playing around with. Man, I'm glad to see y'all. Good to be on your show.
Oh, it's a pleasure to have you here, mate. It's an absolute pleasure. Thank you for coming on. As I said, I've known you for a while, and it's good to have you on and have a chat,
100%.
It's always good to chat with you, Ryan.
Definitely. Right. So, are you ready to get stuck into this highbrow interview?
Come on with
it. So, here we go then. So, Steve, you build some absolutely amazing drums. I've got to admit, I'm a bit of a fanboy with the sort of stuff you do. I'm a drum builder myself. I run a small group. Your group's absolutely huge. We've been sort of partnered on Facebook or affiliated on Facebook or like a recommended group for years now. I can't even remember how long it's been, but it's been a long time. So what actually got you into first building drums, and what sort of inspired you to get you going down that path?
Oh, that's easy to answer. Like everybody, especially in Texas, we barbecue, since she's a kid. And I went to a barbecue contest about 4 or 5 years ago, and I hadn't been to a contest in a while. I used to cook in the 90s, and I went up there with a friend, and I watched the guy win with a dirty trash can, what I call it. It's just a rusty barrel, how did that happen? Mm-hmm. I come home that night, and I studied on the internet, and the next morning I ordered me a kit. And I just bought a $3,000 new smoker. I had to wait like 8 weeks in line to have built. I never used it again after I used that drum. They're the best thing to cook on the world. I had some friends over the first time I cooked on it. They saw how the ease of cooking, and immediately they all three ordered a kit. And we built 3 more the next week. And it's the best. I promise you, if you're out there listening and you don't have a drum smoker, I will promise you they're the best thing to cook on. They're the easiest thing to cook on. They hold their temperature. It's pretty much set it and forget it. The only flaw they have is leaving the lid open.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They will get hot quick.
Mm-hmm.
Sure do.
It's like a rocket stove if you leave that lid open for too long.
That's a true story, and this is what, if you go to a competition today, about 4 years ago, you may have seen 1 or 2 out there. Now, almost everybody has at least one in their spot. Some are cooking on all 3: their brisket, their ribs, and their chicken. One drum for each meat. And they work great. You're cooking 300 degrees. You're cooking a brisket in 4 hours.
Yeah. Wow. It's
3 to 5 hours, depending on the size. You're running 300, and it's going to come out just moist and limp, and just as best brisket you ever had.
Mm-hmm. It's they're a wonderful device, mate. I'm totally sold on them. I'm with you. Yeah. I'm a UDS guy. I wouldn't want to cook on anything else, any other smoker, because you're building them, you're making your food on them. They're absolutely fantastic things. You're preaching to the converted, mate. That's 100% sure.
Mine's currently sat out in the garden, ready for maybe cooking on the weekend. It depends if I can stand up for long enough.
Well, I got a brisket on back there right now. I mean, I'd run mine every day if I could.
Yeah.
And the great thing about them, they're so versatile, is you can get a second lid, put you some tall handles on the sides, and put your charcoal on top, and it transfers the heat. Now it's an oven. I got a video on my YouTube channel on how to make it's an oven. And you just saw me do the new griddle from UDS.com. They have that new griddle plate. And this thing you was talking smash burgers earlier?
Yeah.
That thing makes some great smash burgers right there on your drum. So it's an oven, it's a grill. I put I put a vortex in there and use it as a grill. But you can raise your lower basket up to the lower shelf and still use it as a grill. So it's an oven, it's a grill, it's a smoker. Yeah. It's pretty much everything you need.
Yeah, all in one size drum.
And you're tailgating, you go camping down the river, just toss it in the back of your vehicle, let's go.
Mm-hmm.
It's too simple.
It's as simple as that. Right, so we've got that a little bit covered. So I've seen, firstly, actually, going off the beaten track a little bit, you're cooking barbecue. I've seen you cooking in a barbecue team. What's the name of your barbecue team? And also, What's your best call been so far?
Well, the barbecue name is same as my website and the group. It's Ugly Drum Smokers Texas, and I've only been cooking on this circuit about, I guess, not even a year.
Right.
And I probably maybe cooked about 7 or 8 different tournaments. My best call is the first place chicken. The first cook-off after the coronavirus, they let us out of lockdown. So that was kind of exciting. Come right out of the gate and hit first place chicken.
Yeah.
You go cook the next week, I didn't place chicken, but I hit 5th place brisket and 7th place ribs.
That's good.
So it all depends on, the locals, wherever you cook, they judge.
Mm-hmm.
So just like those 2 cook-offs, I didn't do anything different to my chicken, but it was an hour across town. And it didn't even hit top 10 down there. So it depends on the region. You got a lot of these cooks, if you're going out of town to a cook-off, which a lot of them are, a lot of them, they'll stop at the barbecue shack. The local, they'll look up and Google what's the #1 barbecue shack of this town. They'll go by there and they won't eat. They'll go by there in order to sample, because that's what the local people are used to. Is it salty? Is it flavor? Is it sweet? What flavors does these local people like? And that helps you, just a little bit of tips, inside information of the community. And those things always help you when you got to please somebody you don't know.
Of course, yeah. It's you're sort of cooking the best sort of middle of the road barbecue for the judges, so that it's not too extreme, is it? It's sort of like straight down the line. Everybody wants something that's not out of place. It's got to be tender. The presentation's got to be nice, but you're aiming for sort of like nothing that's an extreme end of either flavor spectrum, are you? So you're sort of like just
trying
to
tell you what, I don't know if you cook championship barbecue or not, or competition barbecue, but I'll tell you this, you hit it spot on. I got some of the top cooks that I know in the top 10 in the state, and they don't go for first place. They want third place this, second place that, fourth place that, and that's a grand champion every time.
Yeah,
you go for that kill. Going for that first place, that means you're only taking one bite. Just one bite. Plastic fork, plastic knife, one bite. They can't touch the food. And you got to make that bite explode and be exciting. But sometimes when you do that, you're putting too much. And they go, ooh, no, that's too much for me. So you're right. Middle of the road is really probably the best way to go in competition.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
That makes sense.
Yeah, got to average your points up and off you go.
Yeah. And that's a great thing about the drums. You see these guys taking those big stick burners, and the cook-off's 2-3 hours away, and you're passing them on the road. They're running 55, 60, pulling their big trailer with their quarter wood, their big metal stick burner on there. You're running 3 of these in back of your drum, running 90 down the road. Well, 70. I don't break the law. And you're home in half the time, and you just load your stuff up. There's no cleanup, mess up. It's just too easy.
Yeah, fair enough. Drums triumph again, you see. I'm with you all the way there, mate. I tell you. So
we've got a few questions from the chat. How do you get your drums, and do you sell many of them? I think we know the question of do you sell many of them?
I used to get my drums from a Container Store, and that when I first bought one, it was $85. And then I got them down to 60, but still, they're painted. They have a liner. You still got to do everything. Now I found a place. Finally, we can get them new from the factory. I told the guy, I said, here's what I want. I told the sales rep, I want a drum, the sheet metal picked off the floor, rolled, welded, cap, and given to me. I don't want no paint or no liner in it, just raw. And he said, I knew better than that. I put through our 3-stage bath that we get all the oils off before we paint it. And it's yours. So now I just take them. I take them straight to the powder coater. They're powder coating them for me. And the colors of the powder coat, it's so much better. And I've learned this: you don't need high temp paint. I've done a video just last month on my YouTube channel where I just took a drum straight from the factory and ran it. And the factory paint, I got up to 450, I think, degrees. Paint just held fine.
All right, that's interesting. That's really cool.
And the powder coating, I'm not using high temp powder. It's just regular powder, and it holds just fine. Bottom line is, if it gets up to 600 degrees, it doesn't matter if it's powder, high temp paint, no matter what, it's going to start peeling.
It's coming off. Yeah, exactly.
If you're getting up to 600 degrees, you've got bigger problems than the paint coming off, that's for sure.
Mine's actually flaking in places. Mine certainly did a little bit of a runaway, didn't it?
I've had it happen 3 times to me, and I'm careful. Yeah. You'll get distracted. You'll pull that pork butt out of your smoker. You turn around and go inside. So I'm coming right back. Phone will ring. Somebody will knock on the door. Everybody wants to do it. I'm patting you on the back.
I was relying too heavy on technology to run my pit for me. So you've got your DigiQ running yours at the minute. I left mine running with something through the roof.
Yeah, they'll get that way if you're not careful. It's any cooker.
Yeah, absolutely right. Absolutely. So now I know that I can get away without having to use high temp paint. I can go and paint it a crazy color now. Then,
yeah. Well, just go over the base color anyway. Like,
the paint for the factory's fine. If they got no liner on the inside, just paint over what they got.
Yeah, mine had liner. It took a long time to get out. A long time.
I must admit, I always, like the one I got, I just got a raw drum. I just sprayed it up and like all that burning the stuff out. Yeah, it's good if you can get it for free, but I paid the £50 and I thought my time's worth a little bit more than sitting there and scraping it out and messing around with it. I just want a nice, clean looking drum, none of the.
If I were to build another one, I'd do the same thing. I'd go out and buy, a fresh one. I wouldn't have it painted. It'd be straight from the factory still. Job done.
You want me to show you some of the paints?
Oh yeah, that would be fantastic. Yeah, that'd be brilliant.
Hold on just a second. I'll show you this. You grab this camera. Bear with me.
Oh, look at them.
They're just in a different league, aren't they?
They're beautiful.
Got pink. Mm-hmm. Pink on black looks real nice.
That looks wicked.
Of course, you got the sports team.
Oh, I like that
like
one.
We were talking earlier, it's easy to just you take the intakes, weld something on top, a team name or a hand, put something on the exhaust, just kick them up a little bit. Just use your imagination.
Mm-hmm. The fabrication on those parts.
This powder turns out great.
They're all powder coated, are they?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And the paintwork on them as well. It's spot on, mate. I tell you, all of your work. As I said, I've always been a bit of a fanboy of the stuff you make. It's always been brilliant.
I appreciate you saying
that. I've never ever seen anything I didn't like.
Well, it's just a hobby, and it's great, and it's to inspire others. And I tell you about the group. The reason I started the Facebook group is, like I said, when I did my research, I got a kit. I didn't have Legos as a kid. I didn't know how to build anything. And you go pay $80 for a drum and you pay the $150 for a kit. And you drill a hole and it's there. Yeah. I couldn't get solid advice from people. The other groups that are out there, somebody say, do this, don't do that. Don't do this, do that. I couldn't get nobody advice. And when I got finished, I said, I'm going to start a group. And that's what the group's about. It's not selling drums. It's help people build their own.
Yeah.
There's solid advice. Somebody's giving wrong advice. They're not part of the group anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And, there's if you ain't got anything good to say, don't say. It's a good, great group. And we help mentor people to build your drum. And somebody says, can you build me a drum? Can I help you build a drum? It's my first response.
Yeah.
You sure you don't want to build it yourself? The pride of ownership. It's easy. I'll mentor you. I just posted a new build video last month on how to build a UDS. Mm-hmm. And it's real simple instructions to follow, all visual. And you can have it done in a couple hours on a weekend with your son.
Oh, for sure. There's nothing that difficult about building a drum, but to the level you take building a drum, mate, that's a different ball game altogether. I got to be honest. Like my one's just made out of plumbing parts. Yours are amazing.
Hey, the plumbing parts work great too. But parts, we're always trying to think, and we always come up with new stuff. These are our new feet. If you don't want to have wheels on them, always design new stuff. These are going outside, give you the stability that you need.
Okay.
And they're always coming up with new things. We got this, my God, this UDSparts.com has this new locking lever. If you got a drum that don't seal, that lid's warped after you burn it, that thing will lock it down really nice. Right. They're always coming out with new stuff. One thing, if you'll learn on that, and I know you know this, but you know, when you got usually most of the charcoal baskets are 12 by 12.
Yeah.
And so your intake has about 5.5 inches to the basket before you get air to it. So some of that air is creeping up the front of that drum.
Mm-hmm.
We started taking the pipe inside the drum on the intakes. Now you just pull your basket up to it. You've eliminated that cold spot.
Mm-hmm.
You're taking the air straight to your basket. You're always just thinking, trying to how can you make it better? How can you make it cook better? It already cooks great by itself. You know that. Yeah.
Just increasing the efficiency all the time, aren't you? By doing things like that. It's like total steady little incremental improvements are going to turn it into what is also already a great cooking machine into almost something perfect. You're continually tracing the dream, you know.
True story.
Yeah. I'm absolutely, well, as I said, I'm a UDS guy. You're a UDS guy. We run the same groups, similar groups, or my one's in the UK, your one's over there. It's we're you know.
Yeah. True story.
Yeah. Right. Let's carry on. Let's get back on. So, your favorite recipes or cooks? What's your favorite cook or recipe, Steve?
Well, it's Texas and it's beef. It's brisket. I'll cook a brisket. I'll probably cook one a week. Sometimes I'll cook two, and I don't cook for me. I'll cook to practice my competition a lot, and I'll feed the neighbors the brisket. They love me. And but besides that, if I take that brisket and I'll make a Frito pie out of it, a brisket Frito pie. If you Google Big Tex Frito pie, you can get the kind of the recipe for it. That's a guideline I went off of. Anytime we have a brisket left over, I get a paella pan, put them Fritos down. I add that just like that recipe calls, and it's one of the best meals. I guarantee you, your friends will go back for 3 bowls.
Sounds good.
Big Tex Frito pie. Check that out online.
Yeah. Can you give us a little bit of a walkthrough of what actually goes into the recipe? Just sort of like a rough guide.
Sure. Yeah. You're gonna load the big round pan or a flat pan, whatever you got. As long as it's a flat pan with a lip. Throw your Fritos down on the bottom. You're gonna put the chopped up brisket into a pan with your barbecue sauce. Get it warm.
Mm-hmm.
And you're gonna load that brisket up. You're gonna want a lot of brisket on it, depending on how big your pan is.
Yeah.
You put that down. Spread that over the top of the Fritos. You put your cheese down. Then you put onions, the small round cherry tomatoes, sour cream, chives, cilantro. And I'll tell you what's really good stuff. They'll scoop it up all night long. There won't be nothing.
It sounds amazing. I'll be all over that.
It's one of the best leftover dishes you can do for brisket.
Yeah. So where do you stand on like beef ribs and chuck then? If you're a brisket guy, do you see the beef chuck as its poorer cousin, or do you sort of embrace the beef chuck?
No. I probably cook that more because I'm always practicing, and we don't cook chuck or the beef ribs in competition. We cook pork ribs. The beef ribs I don't cook as often because they're pretty expensive over here.
Not really.
They're not, and this is Texas. This is beef country. For me, last year they were about for a nice set of 3-plate beef ribs. They were about $34 for the big set, $29 for the smaller end. Wow. Now they're $50, $60. Almost double. But it's worth it. It's worth it. They plump up. And I'll tell you about that chuck roast. I got another video on my YouTube channel on a chuck roast on a UDS. I did a whole chuck roast. I saw somebody doing it. They did a little sissy one. You buy at the grocery store, you put in your oven. Yeah. I got a whole one to do. I said, how big can you make one? Got to come out like this. It was huge. I cooked that whole thing, and you watch that video. It was one of the best pieces of meat I've cooked. It was really good.
I like it. Good chuck roast.
Chuck roast is great.
Yeah, it's one of the secrets that are starting to get out there, and it's nobody really knew about it, but now it's sort of.
And bring it up to 200. Bring it up to 200, just like you would a brisket.
I take mine above. I sort of like 205, 210. Just
take it up till it's tender.
Yeah, I don't really pay that much attention to temperature anymore. It's just if it feels right,
It's the same as brisket. Everybody used to say pull it at 203. Well, 203 is your starting point to say it's close to being done. Then you start just going by probe. Once it goes in like warm butter or Jello on both ends to flatten the point, pull it.
Yeah.
If I was going to give you a temperature to pull a brisket blindly, I'd say around 207.
Yeah, because everything's pretty much done, and the flat won't be bad. The flat will be in good shape. The point will definitely be in pretty decent shape. How does my sound? I'm getting something back through my headphones. Can you pick that up?
Nope, just you.
Just me. Okay, sorry about that. I'm getting a buzzing sound. Yeah. So as I was saying, yeah, the point is going to be in pretty good shape. The flat will be cool. Yeah. Sorry, I've just been a bit distracted.
Yeah, all that fat will be rendered inside. It'll be happy.
Yeah, it'll be in a good place.
So we've got another question from the chat. With your sales of the drums, with the whole COVID thing, have you seen a decrease or an increase in sort of sales?
Oh no, with the COVID, it's just everybody's home. Nobody, they all want to build a drum. They all been waiting for it. They don't have the time. Now they have the time. And then they got a stimulus check.
Yeah. So now you're seeing
for UDSparts.com, I know they were putting out about 2,700 orders a week.
Wow.
For a couple months straight. During that April, May, all that lockdown, they couldn't keep up.
That's amazing. All them
Everybody's
people buying all them
finally had the time to do it. You know what I want to do? I've always wanted to build a drum, but I ain't got time. And now I got time.
Absolutely.
So yeah, there's a lot more people out there smoking.
So I guess that means your your group's grown a little bit more in over this period, and more people reaching out for advice.
Yeah, we got a steady growth. We got about 200 to 300 a month. Sometimes it kick up 4 to 5. It depends on the month. But yeah, it's a steady growth.
Well, that's good. Good numbers.
Yeah.
Good growth.
Good people too. If they, we don't have no keyboard cowboys. If you're in there just to post memes and badmouth somebody, if you don't have nothing good to say, that's the bottom line. Don't say it. I have 3 simple rules, and that's the number one. If you got nothing good to say, don't say it.
Yeah. Well, I think you go a long way with that one, just as your main rule in life.
Yeah, true story.
Yeah, you treat people how you want to be treated. You're never going to go far wrong. That's 100% true.
I like it.
Definitely.
Right. So, we got any more questions in the chat, or so you've gone over that? Done. There's not. Oh, there's not.
Just one popped up then. Favorite charcoal for your UDS, and do you use wood splits in there?
I do. I use roll oak charcoal. I use roll oak charcoal. I use briquettes. We're running on the minion method, where a piece of charcoal lit is going to light the one below it.
Yep.
As it goes out, right? Well, lump is a stick this big and a round one this big, and they're not touching each other. You cook charcoal with just straight lump, you're going to have pieces left over in the bottom of your basket. You're not going to have an even burn.
Yep.
So I use roll oak briquettes. I will fill it about 50 to 60% up with briquettes. Then I'll put my split wood in there, that whatever I'm going to flavor with. And then I'll top it off with the briquettes or lump. They send me some lump, so I use some lump on the top just to get it going hot and fast, get it up and going. And then it'll hit the briquettes, even on out, and I got a smooth sailing from then on out.
Fair enough. You said you're running the minion.
The minion method. It's a guy named Jim Minion come up with it. It's the way the cooking process is. You only have to light a handful of charcoal. If I was to tell you how many cubes of charcoal to light, briquettes, I'd say 15 to 18. Okay. Light them in a chimney, throw them in the middle, and as they burn out, they will light the ones below them. Yep. And they in turn will continue to light the other ones, and that's what gives you that long burn without having to add fuel or maintain it. You can go to bed. You light that thing at 9 o'clock and throw your brisket on, and you want to run low and slow all night, 200, 225, go to bed.
Yeah,
on my stick burner, every 45 minutes. You got to set your alarm to get up. Go stoke your fire. You get no sleep. And in Texas, it's hot. You don't want to be out there 45 minutes around that smoker.
No.
No, I'm out there cooking now. And I ain't even got no worries sitting here talking to you guys.
Yeah, no, I totally believe it, mate. I know it's just going along like a truck, I should imagine. Nice and steady, no problem, just cool. You know exactly what's going on with your cook because you can trust them. You know, with a UDS, you just literally get the fire going. You can, as you say, go to bed, go out, leave it, come back 4 or 5 hours later. There's a good chance you're either going to wrap it or it's done, depending on what temperature you're running. Right.
True story.
So, back into our questions because we've got that one. I've seen you cooking in your competitions. Can you give us a sort of like a timeline rundown through how would you prep and like basically from getting to site to turning the box in? Can you walk us through the procedure?
Sure. Yeah, they're usually Fridays and Saturdays, 2-day event. Saturday's the cooking day. Friday's set up. Cook's meeting are usually that night. They give you the instructions. You pick up your 3 boxes, one for your brisket, one for your pork ribs, one for your chicken. And then next morning, usually around 5 to 6 o'clock, we're firing the drums up. When the guys with the stick burners had fired theirs up on Friday night, stayed up all night drinking, monitoring their fires. They're tired. They're worn out. Now they got a full day in the Texas heat to cook and turn their stuff in. When we're stepping out, stretching 5, 6 o'clock, we'll fire our smoker up now. But usually we fired up about 6 o'clock. Chicken only takes an hour and 45 minutes on the drums. You give yourself about 2 hours for the chicken. Chicken turn-in is always first. It's at 12. Chicken goes on somewhere 9:30, 10 o'clock. And you run at 300. Turn-ins, if it's noon, it's always you got a 10-minute window on both sides. You can turn in 10 minutes before, 10 minutes after, and that's a deadline. You know, a lot of people like to turn in last. You want to be the last person to turn in because you should want your food hot. You turn in first, you sit in there 20 minutes.
Absolutely.
But then again, if you turn in last, well, all the number 1, 2, 3 top cooks are all turning in right there as well. You want to be on the same table as them.
Probably not.
When you're judging, because there's different judging tables. You know, there's all kinds of strategies. You know, who do you follow turning in? Don't follow this group turning in. And I hear a lot of people talk and give me advice. It's pretty good how they share a lot of advice out there. But then ribs, so chicken's at noon. Ribs are at usually about 1:30. And then brisket at 3. And awards are at usually 5 to 6 o'clock. You're home. Well, I'm home in a couple hours if I'm not too far. Everybody having to load that big stick burner up and all that wood and drive 40 miles an hour home. They'll be home at midnight.
Yeah. I love it.
All you got to do is close up the vents, go and get your award, and when you come back, it's all
we're
cool.
loaded up. We
Get straight in the truck.
Go, man. Wave out.
That's it. Absolutely right.
That was perfect. That was quite a nice insight into how you walk through a competition, Steve. That's really cool, man. I like that. All right, so what else we got here? Got a question from Charlie. Have you ever taken judging classes, and if so, how would you change it?
I recommend everybody at least goes judges once. They want the locals to judge. If they don't have enough locals, they'll come ask people standing around, do y'all want to judge? Do you want to judge? And I've done it once. I recommend you do it every meet because, like I said, in KCBS, Kansas City Barbecue Competition, they do things different. They pick up the meat, they touch it, they stretch it, they pull it, they taste it.
Yeah.
In IBCA, which is what they cook down here in Texas, the judges have a plastic fork, a plastic knife, and they can't touch the food. So it gives you how they present it, how they put it in the box. You know, it's like most people are right-handed. 97% of the people are right-handed. So you put the fattest part of the chicken or the rib to the right side because they're going to reach in and take that one bite. You want a nice meaty piece for them to get. That's always helpful. But
that's
thinking what taste. And like you said, middle of the road, you'll taste something that just explode and you're going, that's too much. And you'll learn. You get and some that are warm, some that aren't warm, turned in last. You get all kinds of tips from being in there. I recommend everybody, even before you cook, you should go judge.
Yeah, I think that definitely. I wouldn't mind doing a KCBS course, judging course myself, to be honest. But the competitions over here, we don't have that many. I've done an SCA, but again, I'm probably going to have to retake that because I can't judge because there's been no competitions over here this year. So that's the thing, isn't it? If you miss out a cycle, you got to do it again. So, go on then. So, Matt,
what are your favorite rubs to cook with, and do you make your own?
I do not make my own. I have no interest in doing that. There's just so many out there, and there's so many good ones. But Fat Boy rubs and sauces, especially their cowgirl rub, that's some of the best rub on the planet. As a matter of fact, it was rated, I think, the number 2 rub on the planet like 3 years ago. Right. And I think that's on their website. I put that on my cereal before. In competition, I use a lot of the Texas Oil Dust. I use their Black Gold for my brisket. I use their Barnyard Pimp and their what's the other one? I got them in there. I'll think in a second. What's the other one? Anyway, I use those on my ribs and my chicken. And they got a lot of sweetness in them. That's what you want on your ribs, easy. Some of that Barnyard Pimp, that's some of the best. I even sprinkle that on my brisket. After I finish my brisket and I'm wrapping it, I'll put some butter on there and I'll put that Barnyard Pimp on top.
Oh, so you take it back as a finishing rub just to give it a little bit of a...
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I see.
And at the end, when I glaze my briskets. After I let them rest, I'll pull them out, put them back on the hot smoker, and then I'll put a glaze on there. And on top of that glaze, I'll put some of that Barnyard Pimp, real light, like you said, just the dust, and then let that set about 15 minutes, and then slice it.
Nice. Oh,
just layers of flavor. You know, that's what barbecue is. It's layers of flavor. You want to be able to. You want to be able to taste that. Here comes the savory. Here comes the sweet. Oh, you know, there's the heat, and you feel it in steak.
Yeah.
Yeah, you always want the sort of like the heat coming in at the end, just to sort of like round it all off, don't you? Just to sort of.
Yeah, that's why we use different rubs. You know, some with a little heat, some with a little sweet, something savory. Your salt, pepper, garlic. I use 3 rubs on every piece of meat.
Wow.
Chicken, I'm getting down to do like most everybody else, just 1 light rub. The skin won't burn that way, but everything else I put three different coats. Something, you know, salt, pepper, garlic, then something savory and sweet, and then a little heat.
So your chicken cooks, are you sort of like, obviously you're taking the skin off and scraping them and stuff, and then I presume you're packing them quite tight into a tray and cooking them in some sort of butter with rub and etc. It's I should imagine that would be the kind of procedure that you're following. I don't want to go into
our chicken. We don't use a pan. I take a chicken, I spatchcock it.
Really?
I spatchcock it, and then I cook it spatchcocked on the drum. It cooks in 1 hour and 45 minutes. That's why they cook so quick. And you pull it out. You cut them in 2. They want 2 pieces in the box. You got to have, you know, something under a 5-pound bird to fit in the box.
Oh, I thought you'd be like just turning in like thigh meat or something like that. But
no, you turn in a whole chicken. You turn in a whole chicken. You turn in 2 halves.
Mm-hmm.
You turn in 9 slices of brisket on most competitions. 9 slices of brisket, 9 ribs, and 2 chicken halves.
Okay, I didn't know about the chicken halves. I presumed it would be.
And they both have to fit in the box.
No, I bet that's a thing, you know.
You got to get a chicken under 5 pounds. Some people get them under 4 pounds.
We get for a few birds.
4.8, 4.9 pound chicken.
Have to go hunting for them, I should imagine, eh?
We got a pretty good variety over here. And you got to be careful where you get your chickens. You know, there's only a couple different brands I'll buy because a lot of these places that run their chickens that be jacquarded, and they're sticking in stuff in there to make them last longer.
Yeah.
So I like to get the natural, the fresh. They haven't been messed with.
Yeah, it's always going to be better like that, isn't it? You know, it's a more natural flavor, and they're probably cooked better as well. Truth be told, because there's nothing in them to be interfering with how you're processing them. And
that's a true story. They may be a couple dollars more, but they're worth it.
Yeah, exactly right. Totally agree. So where are we at now? So here's a curveball question for you. What would you say is your biggest blooper while you've been either filming something or cooking something or out and about doing something, making something even? How, like, your biggest sort of like moment? What would that be, Steve?
Yeah, when I got these light stands and I put a phone holder on it, and I had it up so I had nobody with me. I wanted to film me messing with the meat and everything, and the phone falls flat down into the charcoal basket while it was running hot.
Oh,
I got a new phone.
Yeah. Probably left.
I had to run get a glove and to reach down there and get it, man. By the time I got back, it was pretty hot.
Yeah, and the battery in it as well. Good God, it's like lithium battery in a fire basket. You're heading for exciting times there. I can tell you that much for nothing.
Yeah, and I tell you, when I first started doing these drums, my biggest mistake was I started putting these external caster mounts on, and I wanted it looking uniform. I wanted the exhaust right above it, and it was the first time I put them on. So I marked these holes, then I marked the exhaust. I think I got busy and come back the next day, and I drilled the big hole where this goes.
Oh no!
When it's supposed to be up here, and I ruined an $80 drum. Had to go chunk it.
Repurpose it, turn it into something, a chair or.
No, I wasn't happy. I wanted it out of the house.
Flip.
Oh no!
There's always something. You just got to pay attention. You know, we all get distracted.
Of course, yeah. It's very easy done. I was forever measuring like the stuff I do. I sort of like measure it, go away, measure it again, then drill it. No, measure twice.
Measure twice, cut once.
I winged mine.
Exactly right.
Winged it. Put too many holes in it. Filled them with bolts.
Well, I think that's where I get all my metal art inspiration. Every time I had a scratch or a hole, I look at it and say, what can I put to cover it? Oh, I could put an eagle's head or something. He likes this, and I can put that there, or a saying. You come up with different ways to cover mistakes.
Well, it's I wouldn't. Well, one man's mistake is another man's enhancement. Let's put it like that.
Yeah.
There's smart looking stuff, man. There's no two ways about it. So here's another question. Music wise, what would you say your top 3 albums are of all time? How would you?
Music wise,
yeah. So a bit of another curveball.
That is a curveball. That's kind of insight. I mean, everybody has to say 1973, Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon. You know, if you want to get on that side. Anything George Strait.
Yeah.
Anything country and western George Strait is always good. And I guess Led Zeppelin. I'm just old rock and say in my vehicle. If I listen to the radio, it's old rock or old country. I can't do the rap and the hip hop stuff they do. I mean, it's okay. It's just not my style. I just listen to old stuff. Makes me happy.
Yeah, fair play. I'm the same. I get in the car. My kids listen to my music. They're like, "Dad, you got your old music on." I'm like, "No, I'm not. It's from the 90s. It's not that long ago." It's like old.
You know, here I am naming British bands as my favorite bands.
Yeah, well, music is an international thing, just like barbecue. Really, you know, it's sort of.
I make music in the UK.
I think it can unite everybody. You know, like food, barbecue, the whole thing. And beer obviously it all goes hand in hand, in my opinion. That's what I like: music, beer, and barbecue. Quite a simple guy, but that's what I enjoy.
Love it.
That's what I enjoy. I can't say it any more simpler. Yeah. So, excuse me. What other questions have we got going in the chat? Can you see any more, Matt?
Who do you look up to, and who was it you learned from?
Oh, God, always. You always look up to the good Lord, and you learn from His book. You know, I mean, I don't preach religion every day, but you ask me point blank question. That's important to me, especially today. I had lost a friend. That's my inspiration. It's trying to make a difference in the world every day. Trying to help somebody. Trying to help your fellow man, your neighbor, whatever you can do to help somebody. And I try to go by that.
So There's a lot worse things you can do than live by that code. That's for sure. It's definitely a good thing, and I think a lot more people should go by it. You know, if everybody was a little bit nicer to each other, the world would be a better place.
That's your story.
Definitely.
It definitely would be a better place. And I'm sorry to hear about your friend, man. It's terrible news, you know. Absolutely terrible news.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. Have we got any in there? Let's have a look.
No, right, let's just pick up from
Oh.
pick up from the back. Get back onto the questions. Where are we?
Yeah.
So you give us that one. Your backstory on from how we've had that one, haven't we? We've actually gone through all the questions really quickly. That's really cool. So what we're going to do? Would you be okay to stick around for a few minutes? We're going to run an ad. If you need to go and
Sure, no, go ahead.
So go to answer the door or go to the loo or whatever you need to do. We've got a 3-minute break. We're just going to go up and do that. Then we're going to have some guys come in live. They can ask you questions and interact with you on screen if you'd like that. Please stick around and we're going to do that.
I'm going to go check my brisket. I'll be right back.
Brilliant.
No problems. See you guys in 3 minutes time. Open the pub club.